stupid way to do it. Live? I should be live now. Yeah, here it is. Oh, it says waiting. No. Hold on. What happens if I do this? Alright, cool. Where's everybody at? Oh, that's right. I can't even interact with the chat in this. Dude, streaming is not my thing. Alright? I just make sandwiches now. Oh, there it is. Fucking God. Dude, a whole minute and 20 seconds before someone says anything. It's a bad sign. It's a bad sign. Hey, guys. Alright, let's announce that we're doing this thing. We're doing it early this time because it's not just like a regular dev, you know, stream. Plan the final update for GTTOD. Wait, can you even see this? You're just looking at my thing, aren't you? Oh my. Oh wait, no, you're not looking at anything. Give me a second. Off to a great start. I'm gonna do the real ones too. I could do everybody. I could tag everybody. Final update? Yep. There's one more update. We're planning it right now. Today we're going to talk about the issues of the game's current design, direction, and remaining unfinished content. Now is pretty much the last chance many will have to get their ideas or suggestions implemented into the game before launch. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Is that what it is? Hold your peace? P-E-A-C-E or P-I-E-C-E? Peace? What is it? Fucking goddamn. Forever hold your peace or peace? Wait, hold on. Is it forever hold your peace or forever hold your peace? You hold your peace. Oh, my peace. Okay, it's P-E-A-C-E. P-E-A-C-E. Or forever hold your peace. Okay. The standard gamer. You're trying to lead me astray. Nah, dude. It's peace as in, like, your thing. There it is. Alright. The announcement has been made. The stream is now live. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'll let you know we're gonna try to keep this as structured as possible. The fighter is in the locker room, strapping on his boxing gloves, and the second any of you get off topic, he comes out and he starts fighting. He starts throwing haymakers, throwing hands. He starts fucking. He doesn't stop fucking. You can't stop him. Anyway, yeah. Sorry. We're getting into it. His right hook looks like those commercials from 2006 where they're talking about asthma and they've got the elephant sitting on their lungs. That's how hard he punches. Discombobulate. Yeah. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. I can beat the boxer. You can't. You fucking can't. Shut up. You can't. Nobody can beat the boxer. It's his job to be unbeaten. We'll see how this goes. I don't expect a whole bunch of people to show up. We may actually tag everybody. I already have asthma. You're double fucked then, dude. You are double fucked. You better stay in line. You can beat the boxer off. And you go to prison. If you like prison, that'd be fine. Yo, what the fuck? The Ottomans are sieging Vienna? No. Not Vienna. Alright, what's going on here? Get rid of that. Oh, yeah, I had to Google this. Get rid of that. Alright. So. I know you guys can't see anything. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where we're going to start. There's a few places we could start. I'll let you guys decide, okay? For the 20 of us that's here currently. Do you want to start by either A, going through my document and the things I figured out already, or B, suffering and reading negative reviews for the intention of interpreting their actual meaning behind the feelings, not the words? A or B? Show me in chat. If any of you are listening, now is the time. Now is the chance. Interact now. Vote now on your phones. Doc, we got one for Doc. Let's go with A. All right, 2 for Doc. Pull up the Doc. All right. All right. Whoa, damn. 3 for B. 4 for B. 5 for B. Damn, shit. All right, wait, hold on. We got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, we're tied up. All right, the next one I see. Wait, Trinity already vote. All right, it's A. We're going with the Doc. B would be funnier, but we're gonna get to that eventually anyway. We'll start with A. Live scene. Gooning. I'm gooning. Guys, I'm gooning. All right. I'll begin by zooming in so you guys can actually read. After 9 years, it's time. This is just an introduction for people who are stupid. Yes, that would be the ideal date. Who knows? Ignore that. I actually forgot that was there. Yeah, so pretty much what's happening. So we had the past and present update. And the thing with the past and present update was, I believe it was a very, very good update. I do. Light theme, it burns. Yeah, I tried doing dark theme on this, but like, it just, I don't know, it just looked terrible. I could try to change it. I don't mind changing it. How do we change it? How do you change this shit? Yeah, go outside, normal. all right. Yeah, I'm not gonna get distracted by this. Okay, I'm getting distracted by this, guys. How do you do it? All right, I give up. If you say it now, I'll be mad. Anyway, no, I won't be mad. I'm just kidding. But anyway, so pretty much the thing that happened with the last update is I do believe it was a good update. Genuinely, I do. There's just some issues that stuck out more than others for various reasons. And I think it's a really, really, really complex situation. I'm going to try to I'm going to try to summarize. Right? It says the 16th, not 15th. But anyway, pretty much with the direction that GTTOD is going, there's a few things that just prevent it from clicking. First off, this music is loud as shit. It's too spooky in here, guys. I'm scared. It's preventing GTTOD from clicking with the majority of gamers, right? Hello, Riley. Please don't bark at me. It's preventing the game from clicking, right? I think some of these things is expectations, right? Look at how we market the game. Look at all of the marketing we've done for the game and the trailers, even the most recent one. It doesn't really show what the game really is. It shows the movement and the guns and the animations and the enemies and blah blah blah, and that is part of the game, true. But a big part of what makes GTTOD what it is that you're looting around, you're getting your new gear, you're getting your curses and your blessings and your ultimate abilities and your leyline offerings and yada yada yada. That's a lot of it, right? That's a big part of what GTTOD is. And I didn't show those things traditionally because I'm like, they're boring. Who wants to see that in a trailer? Because I'm looking at a trailer for the entertainment value the trailer provides more than the marketing and information value it portrays to potential customers, right? So that's a big problem. And if you look at games that do it right, look at Risk of Rain's trailer. It shows them picking up items and playing with their friends, and it shows what the items do. Like, they'll pick up an item and they'll show what it does next, right? And they do that multiple times, and they show the menus. They show that Hades, fucking 20% of Hades is text and fucking menus, right? So they show the menus, something I've never wanted to really do too much of. So that's the first thing. I have created an idea of GTTOD that is, you go fast, you shoot fast, and the game guides you smoothly along. That's one of the reasons why we couldn't get away with the Risk of Rain approach of not having a tutorial. We never gave the impression that this game should, not have a tutorial. And we need more than that. People are coming into GTTODs expecting something completely different. And originally I was like, that idea of what players are expecting is not able to be combined with the direction I'm wanting to go with GTTOD. And to some degree, I do think that's true. To some degree, I think it's true. I think the problem is that I do need to meet player expectations at the same time. And there are things we can do to, bridge that gap. There's changes we can make so that, we can still be a roguelike game with curses and blessings and looting and shooting and parkour. We can do all that stuff at the same time while still putting the emphasis on where it should be, which is the stuff that is guaranteed fun, which is the movement and the shooting and the fighting and stuff. It's not always fun to open a bunker. It feels good. It's rewarding. That's true. But rewarding and feeling good and fun, they need to happen in tandem and in balanced amounts. And right now, that is the problem. GTTOD is not clicking because GTTOD's rewards and its fun are out of whack. They're out of balance. They're not in the perfect shift that they need to be in, right? And so there's things we can change to make that better. Simple things, quick things, easy things that we can change to make that better. But first, we have to identify where they are. And that's why it's kind of important that we were going to go over the negative reviews. I'm actually going to go ahead and get this ready because we will do that. But we'll come back to that. Let me go down here. I got to browse all fucking billion negative reviews. Everybody hates me. They're like, this guy stinks. Fuck this guy. And I just click and I go. And that's it. I've done this a few times, as you can see. But these are the things we're going to be working on today. And I know that together we can come up with a really sizable list of weirdness that we can all address in simple but smart ways, right? Okay, we'll start in the bottom, but we're not going to go through all of them. In fact, we're probably going to start at the top, but it was good to have, good to have it down there. Anyway, this document. So pretty much, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, though. It's a little bit too crazy. I'm going over problems and their solutions in the first segment. That is the main goal here. And we're going in order of like the least important to the most important. I'd say right now the least important is balance and performance. Basically, an example of this is that there's too many enemies on screen. That's an example. Way too many enemies on screen. Way too many overwhelming things. And when you have too many enemies, you are forced to balance around that. We're on reviews from 2017 already. Yeah, it's crazy. It goes way back. Before the game was released in 2017 and then got removed off of Steam. I was not happy with the game, so I completely removed it from Steam to rework it, and then it got re-released in 2019. But anyway, what am I about to say? Oh, there's too many enemies on screen, and you have to balance around the problems you create for yourself, right? And so think of it this way. If you create too many enemies, then enemies cannot be too tanky. They cannot be too buffed. They cannot deal too much damage. They cannot be too in your face, and they cannot take too much of your attention, right? Think of the worst enemy in the game right now, which is the Elite Shade. Everybody fucking hates the Elite Shade because it takes so much of your attention. But if taking your attention was the intention, then we couldn't have as many enemies. And that might be a good thing to reduce the amount of overwhelmingness the game has. We can still make it be a horde shooter, but we need to balance it out throughout the level. We can't have it be 100% fighting all the time. No games want that, right? Is a telegraph? That's one thing. So Safari just said, I feel like the current telegraphing is a bit lacking. Dodging felt quite whack last time I played. I would say, here's a funny thing about this. This is what we're going to learn later. In Safari, you're going to witness this real time. You said, I feel like the current telegraphing is a bit lacking. Dodging felt quite whack the last time I played. Now, you could interpret this at face value and say, okay, so either something is wrong with the telegraphing or something is wrong with the dodging, right? One or the other or both. But you could also look at that and say, okay, the feeling you're getting, the feeling you're experiencing from this means more than what you're saying. So there's more to it than just that, and there's a greater problem there than just what you're saying. So you feel like the dodging is not enough, and you feel like enemies aren't telegraphing their attacks more. But that could be a greater overarching problem of enemies just aren't unique and separate enough from each other. They don't have like the silhouettes, right? That could be a problem that contributes to that. There's a million things that can contribute to that. And so it's kind of like we're going to go through the negative reviews and try to figure it out, right? That's the main thing. So having more unique enemies is part of it, but here in balance and performance, that's part of it. One of the first things is that enemies are unbalanced, so reduce the enemy count, increase the enemy health, give each enemy perfectly unique projectiles, so none of them are similar at all. They all are. That's their unique stamp on your combat sandbox. And then give each enemy unique behaviors, an example of which is the raptor panics when its shield is broken. And then finally slow down spawn rate, right? I think an interesting thing about that is that if I slow down the spawn rate, I can actually increase the spawn rate, but reduce how long it spawns for. And then you have way more tighter knit and like focused interactions with enemies, like little combat engagements. And so, I'm going to go ahead and add telegraphing as well. Make enemies telegraph attacks more. That's a good thing. It's a good way to do this? Here, think of it this way. A raptor is a great example of an enemy. But the problem is, when he shoots exactly the same as a drudge, right? A raptor could instead have a charge fire attack that has like a big obvious light and like particle effect and then release it to damage your shields, right? That could be the raptor's projectile, right? So we're going to add that here too. Boom. That's a thing we could do to make him look better and make him different from the drudge. Because right now, a raptor is basically a drudge with a shield that panics when it's broken. That's what it is. But if we can separate them more, that's how we should treat each enemy needs to be treated that way, right? So every single enemy needs their own attack. They can telegraph better, their own projectiles, all that kind of stuff. That's something that's super duper important. It's not that we need to spend more time creating more enemies. We don't need to create more enemies. We have plenty of enemies in variety and count. What we need to do is make sure that each enemy is focus firing exactly as it should to give and provide as much to the sandbox as possible, right? Creating more and more enemies is just going to make each enemy mean less. In fact, we may even have too many, right? Or at least the ones that are here are too similar. So that's something to consider, but regardless, that's part of it. Another problem with the balance and performance is that exploration is too heavy of a focus. So what do? We reduce the amount of bunkers. A lot of your time in game is spent right now looking for fucking keys and opening bunkers, and that's kind of annoying, and it breaks the pace of movement in combat. And that's fine if the intention, which currently in the version right now, the intention is not to solely focus on movement and combat. It's to have that balance, and we do have that balance. But player expectation is not to have a balance between movement and combat and exploration and looting. It's to be focused on movement and combat, and then probably have that rewarded with the rewards you get from exploration. That is the balance that people are expecting. And you can't do that when there's bunkers all over the place and your focus is on getting keys. You can't do it. You cannot do it that way. So reduce the amount of bunkers. Each level has one guaranteed bunker that is in the spot closest to the door every single time. And the second thing is there will be a chance to have one or two additional bunkers elsewhere in the map, but that is just a chance. That is not the main thing. And even then, I still may have it, what's the word I'm looking for? They want to do something. It starts with a P. Not provide. Prefer. It would prefer to be closer to the door either way. That's kind of how I'm going to be doing it. And so then I'm going to add a bunker rarity system. So the most common bunkers are going to be cargo bunkers, service bunkers, and arsenal bunkers. These, in my opinion, are the most important bunkers because they have the loot, and they have them in great quantities. A cursed bunker, a blessed bunker, and a basement bunker has one item guaranteed, right? But you can have multiple guns and multiple everything in a cargo, service, and arsenal bunker. Then the least common are the alpha bunkers, the forge bunkers, and the shop bunkers. Alpha bunkers, obviously, you don't need a lot of them. Forge bunkers, we haven't gotten into that yet, but we'll get into that later. And then shop bunkers, obviously, you don't want to go shopping all the fucking time. And that also increases the risk-reward factor of diamonds and emeralds and sapphires, because you're still going to be holding those items, but for longer. So then it becomes, oh, do I really want to do this, right? That's a bit of a better decision and feels better to make. Reduce the amount of keys to balance it out. Increase the amount of goodies you get from bunkers, so they're even more jam-packed full of shit. And have the level prefer to place bunkers closer to the door. And then finally, new objectives that are integrated into the level's play space. That's a really, really important one. And this is something we are going to have to talk about today, okay? So today we have to talk about how right now, what is in a level, right? And below here, you'll see disjointed mechanics and areas. This is a huge, huge, huge focus. This is the problem number 2. A big focus is disjointed mechanics and areas, and we're going to get there. But bunkers are an example of a disjointed mechanic. What does it do? It takes you out of the level, out of combat, away from enemies, and sections you off in its own little environment that's safe and secure. But that is very, very disjointed from a primary and focused gameplay direction, right? That's a big difference. So, that's an example of something that's disjointed. Is it as disjointed as some of these other things? No. There's things like fucking the Babe Arena. The Babe Arena is so crazy disjointed, it's insane. Or even the dungeons are crazy disjointed. You can't even go back to the level. If you go into a dungeon portal, you're done with that fucking level. Forever, right? That's crazy disjointed. All of these things are crazy disjointed. What's really, really important is that we have a more focused thing moving forward, and that means using objectives that are integrated into the level's play space. That's super duper important. And so that's something we're going to have to come up with. And that may even include creating new problems for the player to solve with these objectives. That could involve that. Or even the reduced amount of bunkers could create problems that we could solve with objectives and that are integrated into the level's space. Oop, I hit my mouse. That are integrated into the level's play space. That's a really, really important thing. I don't agree that the Babe Arena needs worked. I don't think it's a rework thing. Here's another example, right? Is that Eli? Eli, is that you? Here's another example. He says, or she says, or they say, whoever this is, the Babe Arena definitely needs reworked / moved. I agree. I don't think that's the case. What you feel is that the thing that is okay, actually, you know what? We have it written down. Disjointed in mechanics and areas. We're going to use this as our first example. Is upgrading weapons is not prioritized correctly. That's the real problem. How do we get to that agreement, though? The Babe Arena definitely needs rework. So what's the goal of the Babe Arena? To babe and upgrade your weapons. A key component of surviving in GTTOD and being successful, right? So, oh, hold on. I got to crack my back. And take a breath. Whew. So that is what the purpose of the Babe Arena is. But what if we just recontextualize that, right? What if it became an option rather than the only way? Right now, the Babe Arena is super far out of the way. It's in a cave that is not obvious and not separate. But having one so that every single safe area has a Build-A-Bang engine makes a way easier way to say, okay, well, now the Babe Cave becomes an optional objective. Right? It's a side objective now. And then it feels way better. Oh, I can go to this separate area that brings me back later and then get a head start on babing and upgrading my weapons, right? And it's difficult, it's challenging, but you would get a big benefit to that for one reason only. If we made it so the safe area comes before the boss fight, so you have a chance to upgrade before the boss fight, well then you can even have an earlier upgrade than that. And so that's kind of the difference. Or even keeping the safe area where it is, and so having that as like a babe before the boss fight. So that would be your method. If it's an optional objective, that's different. And it's not that it needs to be moved or changed, it just means means something needs to be added into the gameplay loop so that there's not so much weight on the Babe Cave. Right now, there's too much weight resting on its shoulders. It needs help. It needs other mechanics. And so that's an example of, we have these safe levels, right? And look at this. Safe levels are pointless, boring, and poorly timed, right? We have these safe levels. We can do more with them. We can have dungeon portals beyond safe levels. We can have build-a-bangs there, Kate shops, forges, workbenches, combat objectives as grant leyline offerings, and then then reduce the weight that needs on a fucking meme boss fight like Gub. It's like adding things to strategically to reduce the load that a mechanic is being given to lift up the game's mechanic or gameplay, right? And I think the Babe Cave is a really good example of that. I'm running out of breath. Right now, I feel like I need to bait before the first boss, otherwise my run is doomed. Think about how that feels, right? What is causing you to feel that way, and what can change so that you... Yeah, the Mustard Sentinel. I thought about bringing the Mustard Sentinel back. Sorry, I realize you guys are just not seeing that. Do you guys not remember the Mustard Sentinel? Hold on. We'll go there. We'll get there. Watch this. Oh, wait. First, I gotta pause the fucking music.
Didn't the Geneva Convention ban...
Stop right there, criminal scum! Nobody breaks the law in
That was the mustard one.
I make a mustard.
I would let this thing fuck my wife.
I'll make a mustard. And then I put him on the body of the Blade Sentinel. And he was the Mustard Sentinel. Or the Mustard Hot Dog, but it's the Mustard Sentinel is what it is. Anyway, sorry. Back to this. The ketchup gun. I totally forgot about this. Yeah, dude. Clearly someone is excited for Sparking Zero. I am excited for Sparking Zero. Why is that? Oh, okay. You're just saying that. I am excited. What the fuck was the bird there? Yeah, the bird was there! Ah, I didn't know you were fucking watching! Oh my god, it got you again, you idiot! You fool! I love this HUD. Can we get it back? Fuck no. Our HUD right now is awesome. We have a great HUD right now for the first time ever. There's no changes needed. Anyway. So that's part of the thing is like, yeah, safe levels are very underutilized. I don't think poorly timed. I think underutilized. I don't actually think it needs to be moved to before the boss fight. What I think needs to happen is that you need to be able to fight the first boss with upgraded guns. Is that what it was? 4 videos on Sparking Zero? Dude, I hope it's not any red pill shit. I watched some red pill shit the other day, and now my YouTube recommendations are red pill. Let's check. I got home. What the hell's happening with that woman's ass? Put that thing away. Put that back where it came from. Oh, so help me. Anyway. Yeah, I don't fucking know. I don't. It's Sonic. Oh, yeah. Here's some. I don't know if that's red pill or not, actually. I think that's just sadness. Maybe it's not. I think the red pill's gone. Oh, wait. Homath right here. Never mind. That's who I watched earlier. I watched a Homath video because it was funny. But now it's red pill. Yeah, the boxer's coming out, guys. We're about to get our asses kicked. Let me turn my music back on as well. Better watch out. All right. So safe levels are boring, pointless, and underutilized. And then difficult. You guys are going to love this one. You guys are about to love this one. Difficulty and challenge is not properly rewarded. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the increased Jade Vine rune. The one that guarantees you get Jade Vines in every leyline offering. Completely remove that thing. Fuck that fucking thing. Then we're going to make it so each rune has a multiplier value for Jade Vines. So if you have a rune active, it'll multiply the amount of Jade Vines you get, right? The second thing we do is for each rune enabled, increase and stack the Jade Vine multiplier value. Basically what I just said. And then make most runes focus on the challenge aspect. Finally, we're going to add a new item called the Jade Blossom. Consuming the item will make it so Jade Vines are guaranteed at your next ley line, and these items stack and can be stored in the locker. Then we're going to add a new interactable object called the Verdant Idol to every single level. It's guaranteed to spawn inside a level. And then interacting with this object will cost the player shards, but once purchased, the object will grant the player the Jade Blossom. That is a crazy fucking start to rewarding difficulty and balancing progression. And then obviously just to tie things in together, we're also going to be showing stats in the way station when loading a new level. So the stats are as follows. Kind of what we're going to be doing is showing how long you spent the level, the time you currently spent in the run, the time to clear the door event, kills gotten in the level, so kills in level, total kills in run, bullets fired, bunkers open, kills, keys found, damage taken, and whatever else we think of. And then when you there's going to be an option in the options menu so you can skip the stats page, and then it'll just load the level. Yeah. Where are we planning on having this Verdant Isle? It's another thing exactly like the key jar. It's a thing just like the key jar. Level clear stats. So that's another thing, just to tie things together, right? If you're really tied into how you're playing and what's happening in the level, it'll feel a little bit better. And then obviously you can have an option in the settings menu to skip the stats screen, and otherwise when you read the stats, I'll have a key press, like press E to continue, and then you can continue, and then it'll just load the next level instantly. Okay? Obviously, lack of tutorialization and a narrative is a big deal. We'll get back to that later. I think you guys are going to really like this one as well. Not enough mechanics actively encourage players to engage in combat. So obviously, if we improve the enemy balance, which we've already talked about, and if we reduce the focus on exploration, which we've already talked about, and we re-add the old combo meter but make it a charge your mana, then it's your first kill is worth 1 mana charge and will begin a slow timer. Your second kill will double it, being worth 2 mana charge and will quicken the timer. Each subsequent kill will double the mana charge and speed up the timer. The charge cap will cap at 64 mana per kill with a very short timer. And each time the timer reduces, the mana count gained halves and just goes back down the list pretty much. And then make ultimate abilities a greater focus by having every safe zone will have a functioning dungeon portal. And then I'll improve the melee combat, increase its usability. I think we can have a really awesome combat loop, one that's basically what we have now but better. So yeah, the combo meter would be returning. That would be a big thing. Extracting is confusing is another one. Cleaning up extractions with a new, and you'll see a lot of these tie into the idea. So the Verdant Idol, that's a level objective. It's in the level, just like key jars. And now we have another one here, which is the spike, right? Which is the splinter. The extracting is too confusing. You have a new mechanic called the splinter to the game. It's an interactive object that spawns within a level. Interacting with the object will begin a small combat challenge, and completing the challenge successfully will grant the player a harbor scroll. Using the harbor scroll will allow players to extract. See? Like, we have shit here that's going to be in the actual levels themselves. And they're not disjointed. They're not away. And they simplify mechanics that are already existing in the game. Right? And then so finally, we'll properly tutorialize extractions and splinters, and we'll improve tutorialization of the hub so that players understand how their storage works over there in the bedroom area. So you know what sleeping does. You know what putting things in your locker does. You know what depositing and withdrawing shards does from your teller. You know what these things do. So that's something that's really, really important for cleaning that. Because extracting is an awesome objective in the game. It's an awesome thing to do. And it contributes to future runs. That looks like even more complicated. It's tutorialized. It's not more complicated. It's absolutely not. It adds tutorialization. So that's another thing, right? That's a huge change. As you can see, dungeons are directionless, disjointed, and disabled. And the solution to this is orb. Orb! Orb. Anyway. And even further more down, you'll see another even important one. There's improper or lack of marketing. And the solution is ugug, gugug, gug, gugug, gugga, gug. So, clearly we're looking good, as you can see. And then the summit is too conceptually flawed. I drew some fucking lines. Look at those lines I drew. Some good looking lines. So as you can see, this final update is going to go really well. So we've gone over the document as it is currently. Now we are going to be we're going to be tackling this now, and we're going to start right here. Okay? Let's suffer. The first thing I would like to bring up is that my reviews used to be way fucking meaner. Like, oh my god, people were just mean. They would chew me out and just shit on me as a person. And that doesn't really happen anymore. And there was a point in time where I thought we were going to go through all of these negative reviews, and I was going to compare them to our current negative reviews and say, see, there's similar things happening right now, or this is a reason why we should make X, Y, Z decision. However, once I started reading these, I realized that we actually have completely different problems. And that's a little bit hopeful, because that means the problems that did exist were solved. But at the same time, it means that we can't rely on things that's happened in the past to solve these problems. But more than that, what's important to me is that GTTOD right now is a different game. It's a completely different game. And we can't rely on my knowledge of other games to help me find solutions for these problems. And something that happened a few weeks ago or a few months ago was that somebody said this game just seems like all of the games that the dev enjoys playing smashed together. And in a way, when I read that, I was like, hell yeah! Hell yeah, that's what this game is. It is a bunch of games I fucking love smashed together. That's what makes it cool. And if that's true, that is true. But that comes with a unique problem of now we have to figure out how these mechanics work together. And I think that's where GTTOD's identity is going to come into play. We have the solutions. We've had the solutions all along. We just aren't using all of them correctly right now. And so these solutions we have to figure by thinking out of the box. Look back on the thing we just went over, right? What's an out-of-the-box thinking of fucking moving the bunkers to the end of the level? That's out-of-the-box thinking. Reducing enemy count, but changing them individually, that's a little bit out-of-the-box thinking. Or at least slowing down the spawn rate to go with it. It's kind of out-of-the-box thinking. Or bunker rarities, out-of-the-box thinking. Like, these are things that you can't look at other games and say they concretely did that. Does Risk of Rain have fucking event rarity? Does it have crate type rarity? Kind of, but it's not like a core proper element, right? Not like this. It's not baked into it. Does Hades have XYZ rarity? Kind of, but that's not. We can't look to them and say, oh, that's the solution. We have to find solutions for ourselves that work for GTTOD and only GTTOD, because right now we're in a really unique position where we can't keep looking at other games and taking ideas and taking solutions and expecting them to work perfectly. No, we have a whole bunch of mechanics and a whole bunch of things that need to be tied together in a unique way, right? In a way that's unique to GTTOD and it works for GTTOD. And that's what players, and that is based on what players are expecting of the game. That's what we base that on. Those are the solutions. So all the solutions we have got to be based in what is the player expecting when they get into GTTOD. And that in a big way is just movement, combat, fucking cool music, neon visuals. We have to base it in that. We can't base it in a balanced roguelike. Oh, they're expecting to get a cool curse that lets them shoot fire. That's not what players are expecting. The curse that lets them shoot fire is in service of a really, really fun combat movement game. And placing those things correctly in this game is what's going to make it feel good. That's what's going to make it enjoyable. And that's what we got to figure out. We got to identify all the areas in GTTOD that don't understand that don't cater to that idea, and move them around so that they do. And that's what's going to make this game good. Really, really good. Not just good. It's good now. The game is fine. But utilizing it correctly and being really, really intentional, that's the goal. That's what we have to do. And one way to do that is by reading the negatives and not just reading them for what the words they're saying, right? But reading them. I think this one is going to be great. This is going to be a really good one. I haven't read these two yet, but I've read part of this one, but this second one looks like it's going to be great. But reading them, reading what they're saying and seeing and trying to identify the feelings that made them say those things more than the mechanics, because nobody's going to understand why a mechanical thing leads to an emotion. But if we tackle the emotion itself, we can solve emotions. We can prevent things from happening emotionally. But maybe mechanically is not the way to do it. So, howdy. Howdy. I've played GTTOD for a while. I don't know if it's me, but this game's environments just do not allow for smooth gameplay. You go to loot a bunker and you feel like a fish out of water. This game really struggles with whether it wants to be a parkour shooter where you speed through levels or a roguelike where you're looting and trying to earn money for purchases. This first paragraph is exactly what I've been saying. It is not that GTTOD is confused. Not at all. GTTOD does not struggle with whether it wants to be X, Y, or Z. It knows exactly what it wants to be. The problem is that players are expecting it to be something else. GTTOD, I have said time and time again that GTTOD currently is not focused on being a combat movement shooter as much it is a roguelike kind of like, a roguelike. It's a roguelike. That's its main thing. The first tag is a roguelike. So that's what I've been focusing on. Players are not expecting that though. I feel like the game is balanced perfectly for what it wants to be, but what it wants to be isn't what players are expecting. We need to push the boat a little bit further into the direction of what players are expecting. That's a big deal. I have a massive problem with the economy in this game. It takes far too long to get money early in a run, and the game on normal mode really feels like it outscales you if you don't get something good early. Most bunkers I run into are like a shop or service bunkers, and I'm sitting over here with like 250 shards and a basic pistol. I can't even kill a normal grunt enemy in one shot. I feel like if I went to engage in combat with the enemy, I have to slow myself down. He's talking about the economy. But there's no problem with the economy. You know what the problem is? He opened a bunker before he had shards. Which means he prioritized opening a bunker over combat. And when his expectations are to have a combat movement experience, that's not fun. That's not enjoyable, right? So something that needs to change is saying, okay, clearly keys right now are prioritized over combat being shards, right? So there shouldn't be as many bunkers. There shouldn't be as many keys. You shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff. You should be fighting and having a good time and completing objectives in the level that influence you to move and fight. And then after the end of that, that's when the bunker should be coming into play, right? When you have the shards, when that means something to you. Right now, you can open a bunker and it mean nothing to you because you have nothing to spend it. Sure, it's good to know that it's there, but maybe you'll forget later. And then you already have to you have to go all the way back, right? You have to walk all the way back to that place. That's an issue with the bunker, which we have already identified right here. Exploration is too heavy of a focus. We already know that. It also doesn't help that when doing parkour, I feel like I'm just flailing around in the air. It feels really awkward going so fast and dashing all over the place when I'm trying to survive against Blade Sentinel, whose arena really just doesn't reflect his fight whatsoever. I really dislike how the game plays currently. It feels really unforgiving for anyone who wants to just casually play the game. Going outside of quick play is not fun to me, TBH. Okay, so quick play mentioned. This isn't even an awful take. This is a key take. I want to just have a chill run and maybe get amped up anytime I really die. It's because I get outscaled and I'm moving fairly quickly, and for what it's worth, it's hard to move fast in this game while also trying to loot containers and kill enemies for money. Okay, this is a big one. This is a huge one right here. You know what? I'm going to come in with my interpretation immediately, and I'm going to explain why I interpret it this way. This man does not have a problem with the parkour. He doesn't have a problem with the scaling. Or maybe he does have a problem with the parkour. I can't really say much for that. He doesn't have a problem with the scaling. He doesn't have a problem with the difficulty. He doesn't have a problem with the modes. He doesn't have a problem with anything like that. That's not where his problem is. My guess, he mentioned quick play. What's a huge difference between quick play and the main mode? The first fucking thing you see in quick play is the babe. You immediately know that upgrading your weapons is a priority to surviving in quick play. And quick play is an arena that's about combat, and the objects that you need to survive in combat are clearly displayed to you and are located and strut about all through the level, right? Quick play guides you through the gameplay loop he is expecting better than the main mode. It is not about difficulty. It has nothing to do with difficulty. It is about quick play is meeting his expectations. That is the thing. So he doesn't have a problem with quick play. That's the main thing. Maybe the combat, the movement needs cleaned up a little bit more. I agree with that. But that is what I'm talking about. It's interpreting his feelings. Ignore what he's saying. Interpret what he's feeling. That is the whole goal here. You see what I'm talking about? I really want to see this game succeed. It feels too rough early game. It's because I'm not meeting his expectations. That's the important part. Comparing it to other roguelikes, I would like to imagine that, as enemy waves come in, they skill check you before you reach the door. Areas are closed off until you clear waves of enemies, and the areas are expansive enough so that you're in a mini arena until you reach the door. Think how Hades is designed. You go from room to room clearing enemies, but only get to advance once it's completely done. That is very similar to how GTTOD already is. That's very, very similar to how GTTOD already is. There's a different problem there that he's experiencing, and it's the feeling that we have to attack, not the words he's attacking. That's why we all get so confused. We're like, oh, somebody will say the guns were better before, right? And we're all like, what the fuck are you talking about? The guns were better. Have you seen GTTOD's guns? They're awesome. What he really means is something else. And we are interpreting his speech. We're taking it at face value. We can't always sometimes we can take things at face value. Sometimes they're right. But a lot of the times, they're just conveying their feelings in the only way they know how. That doesn't mean it's accurate. We have to interpret it. This is a perfect example of that happening, right? And that's the problem. So, I bow. I bow. Hello. Let's go back to this. We'll come back to these reviews, but look at the reviews now as well. Look, a lot of them are like, this guy made a whole fucking video. We can watch that. But a lot of them, 64 hours, they're paragraphs. Paragraphs and paragraphs. Some of them are kind of stupid. And some of them don't mean anything. And some of them you can't learn anything from. But if you compare that to how things were before, look, there's just a few sentences. There's a few that are paragraphs, but mostly short. They don't have much to say. This guy just says no. Right? Fuck shit game. Like, just short. There's a few paragraphs, but for the most part, it's not crazy. Right? Nowadays, you get pretty much nothing but paragraphs and long paragraphs. People have a lot to say about how they feel. So, listening to them, interpreting it. We're going to read this one real fast because I feel like this is going to say exactly what I've already said. This game looks so fun on paper and the visuals are amazing. It's talking about the marketing. What's the marketing? It's fast-paced movement and shooting. It's guns. It's not the roguelike. It's not the getting curses and blessing. It's not the opening bunkers. It's the movement and the combat. But it seems to have an identity crisis. Not at all. It doesn't. It doesn't have an identity crisis. It's just missing player expectations due to bad marketing, like putting it in the wrong way, and a kind of a weird, unclicky focus. The focus is more on something else that players are not expecting. So, firstly, it's a mobile shooter. Kind of a weird sentence. Mobile is what he means, but with dashes, multiple jumps, wall runs, and sliding. But all the game mechanics tell you not to be mobile, but instead just find a hiding spot and peek to kill the enemies. He's talking about the bunker doors. He's talking about peeking out of the door, shooting them, and peeking back in to heal. Right? Enemies drop loot and ammo that disappears after some time, so the logical thing would be to grab it. Go and grab it. You're right. That is the logical thing. Wrong. You just found yourself a one-way ticket to a new run town since they all tend to group up and just eviscerate you the moment you get close. Now, we know that if you go out there in the early games and the early threat levels, you can literally stand in the middle of a horde of enemies, walk out of the room, make yourself dinner, and come back in, and you'll still be alive. We know it's not a difficulty problem. It's a scaling problem in the fact that he's not scaling correctly with enemies. He's not upgrading. He's not increasing his gun's firepower. He's not babying. He's not doing the things you should be because those things are not obviously goals. A cave in the corner of the map is not a goal. It's a cave it's a side objective. It's a side objective, and so it should be treated like a side objective. But it's not being treated like a side objective right now. There's too much weight on that mechanic. Get to the orange door. It seems like the early idea was to run through enemies while shooting your guns. He's setting his expectations. Run through enemies. But at some point, someone decided that what we want to be forced into running around a small area and kill the spawning enemies over and over. You even have a door breaching animation. That would be so cool if you actually had to run to it and not just walk up after everything has been killed. And you got your reward. On the side note, the powers you get to choose from are terrible. Okay. Let's interpret this as well. First off, there is no difference than running and killing and getting to a door than running and killing an arena. There's the amount of like the feelings it conveys to you are the exact same thing. His problem is he just went through an entire level of looking for fucking bunkers and getting his ass kicked because he doesn't know how to play the game. So there's a tutorialization issue, obviously, but there's also more than just a tutorialization issue. You could tutorialize it well and it still not be what he wants to do, which is run around and shoot the shit out of things. Okay? So these are the goals. It's to meet them at their expectations. We're going to talk about the summit today too. I have the summit pulled up here, as you can see, and we're going to talk about that shit because there's a lot going on here. This is the summit. I think is really, really important because what is a final level? What is a final boss? What you can't identify it super easily, but what you can say is that the entire game, if you have a 60-hour game and the last boss is a 2-hour fight or a 1-hour fight or a 1-hour engagement or a 2-hour engagement or whatever you fucking have, a 60-hour game, the first 58 hours is in service of the final 2. All of it. None of it will fucking matter if you end shit. None of it. You will. In fact, you can have an incredible 58 hours, the most incredible, mind-blowing 58 hours of your life. Girl on your dick, sucking you dry, sucking the laugh out of you while you're playing this game. Popcorn in the other hand, Doritos on call. And then if the last 2 hours suck, you don't get to keep the good memories from the first 58 hours. You look back at the first 58 hours and you go, that shit sucked. And I'm not just talking about the girl. That shit, I can't believe I did all of that just to get fucked over in the end, right? To have no fun. Everything in the first 58 hours is in service of the final 2. And so it has to be an accurate reflection. It has to accurately reflect what those first 58 hours were, what was good about them, and then present it to you in a way that is different but better than everything else. That's the final 2 hours. And if you can't do that, then you're fucked. So the summit is a huge focus here. And presenting it in a different light, that's the openness. That's the vehicles. That's the choices. That's the separation, right? That's what this is. I can't believe I did all that just to get pegged. Why are you saying that like it's a bad thing? You don't want to get pegged? No, I don't want to get pegged either. I understand. That's the problem. Dude, the music stopped. Oh, never mind. It's back. Sorry, my ADHD got scared. Yeah, it's just figuring that shit out. That's the game. I think we have it figured out for Act 1 and Act 2. We were actually pretty close. But we're not quite there, and that led to some friction in the last update. But we're close. The place that it's really going to need figured out is on the summit. Oh, let me get into it. Let me show you the boo-boo. All right? I'm going to turn my shit on. I ain't never going to turn my shit off. A good fucking tutorial will remedy a lot of this. That's actually the funny part. In this document we have here, I talk about that. Here's the problem with that. A good fucking tutorial for a game that is not very carefully conceptually designed will only go so far. Yes, it will help. I am not saying it will not help, and it will be significant. But the first thing you have to do is make sure that the game naturally meets players' expectations. If you teach a player a mechanic that doesn't meet their expectations, they're just going to think it's a shit mechanic. That's it. And that scales to everything, okay? If you teach players a thing that does not meet their expectation at all, they are not going to like it. Or rather, it's an uphill battle to get them to like it. Fucking Doom Eternal had this problem. Doom Eternal had to fight to get players to like their systems. Fight for it. Nobody liked that shit at first, and some people were like, okay, yeah, I see it. And they get along with it, and it goes well, right? But ideally, you don't want to have to do that. Right? You don't want to have to fight player expectations if you can't help it. Sometimes you're going to have to, and there's going to be things here with the bunkers that I'm going to have to fight a little bit. But you want to present it in a way that is in line with what the player is expecting to experience. You do want to surprise them sometimes, but you want to surprise them with quality. You don't want to surprise them with something really weird. I would not fucking throw a level in here. Oh, yeah. I would not fucking throw a level in here that is a Guitar Hero Dance Dance Revolution level, right? And so obviously that's an exaggeration, but there's a range here. And where does that range start and where does that range stop? That's where we're trying to figure that out. And I think we got it. But that's the important part. It's not so much about the tutorial. It's about don't surprise them with dog shit. Not even that don't surprise them with dog shit. Sometimes it's just don't surprise them. Sometimes players just do not want to be surprised. Sometimes they just want to get in there, like what this guy was saying. What was this guy saying? He just wants to get in there and have a good time. He doesn't want to have to think about a lot of things. He doesn't want to have to do all that kind of stuff. And that doesn't mean you can't have the same things. Like you're saying, oh, you can't have curses because they require thinking. No, you can have curses with less thinking. It's just you put them in a time. You put them at a time where the player is cooling off. And is more open to the idea of using their brain. But when they're in the middle of a level and there's a bunch of enemies spawning from beacons and the music is swelling, they don't want to do that shit. They just don't. They just don't. So give it to them later. Give it to them when they do want to have that shit. And that's why I was talking about in here. I was thinking, you know what's really underutilized? Underutilized are safe areas. Our safe levels are pointless, boring, and underutilized. That is an example of a place where a player will use their brain. The music is chill. The enemies are not overwhelming them. That is an area of an example of an area where we can do some brain stuff. We could say, oh, we could put a dungeon portal in there. And we can explain what a dungeon portal is. We can tutorialize it there. There's a bunch of things like that. That is where you need to do it. But a bunker in the middle of a level, no. Nobody wants to stop and read what a curse does when they know outside of that door are 30,000 enemies waiting to jack their shit. And you know what? Hey, listen up, fellas. Absurd Cleric, honestly, parentheses, feel free to call me stupid, but the title of the game might also be one of the reasons people have much simpler expectations. Check this shit out. I'm going to find it real fast. I'm going into my goon cave. I'm going to read you some shit. You're welcome. Yesterday, 4:11 p.m. Andrew, if I was ever going to change GTTOD's name, release would be the last chance to do so. I am definitely considering it. I have a few names I really like. Two that stick out are Vessel and Conduit, since that's kind of what you are in GTTOD. But I also don't know. Also, I don't fucking know if I like those names either. I think there could be way better names coming up with. But then we go into this huge, I know you're not looking at my stream right now, but we go into this huge discussion back and forth. Xander and Sam are really unsure. Papa's for it. I'm mostly for it. Some people are kind of iffy on it. And we just kind of go the pros and cons of changing the name on release, right? That is a thing we're considering. That is absolutely a thing we're considering. Or at least I'm considering. Vessel does go hard, I agree. So there's some names we could change. That's not out of the question. I think the biggest con to changing the name is that if we did manage to get some kind of notoriety for the name GTTOD, we would lose it. I do agree that those names are a little bland. So if we're going to keep the name GTTOD, we at least have to understand that it does genuinely hurt the game in multiple ways. Because people won't recognize the game. Well, lazy, my sales are low. My sales are pretty much over with. Nobody's talking about the game. There hasn't been a YouTube video about the game in a long time. People aren't going to recognize the game anyway. Nobody knows it already. It doesn't. GTTOD does not have much recognition. Or maybe it does have some, but that's quickly diminished. If we could think of a name for the game that is really fucking awesome and really fits with the direction the game is heading in and where we're going with launch, I think it actually might be worth it to change. But that's if we think of something. Right now, nothing has come up. Vessel and Conduit are cool, but a little bit bland, and they don't really convey the feeling we want. If we were to think of a word that really did, then that would be completely different. But right now, we don't. And so right now, the current plan is to change the name of the game just to GTTOD. Not get to the orange door, never referring it to that again. I never do it anyway. I haven't done that for years. But changing the name just to GTTOD and never talking about it again. That's the current plan. That is going to happen one way or another. But if we push that idea further of changing the name entirely, that's something we need to talk about. Enemy Killer. Cool Unity game. Wrath. Wrath already exists. Get through the orange door? Lol. Oh, lol, yeah. Changing to GTTOD isn't a bad idea. No, I agree. It's going to happen. Some of the world. I don't want it. Here's something I don't think will work with GTTOD. I don't think something of the something will work for this game. Because something of the something, or something to something, or something through something, that kind of title, I don't think it'll work because that implies something that I don't know. It implies some kind of grandeur that doesn't exist in GTTOD. Right? So, the summit could be cool. I agree, calling it the summit could be cool. But that would imply that the entire game is on the summit, and it's just not. Shatter, we got to keep in mind that the word shatter is a common thing here in the game. So, I don't think the summit would be a good name of the game. And that's also just like, that's a description of the area. But, name idea, we couldn't think of a name. I think can you reach the summit? Can you reach the summit? Fucking, I'm not going to call this game Can You Reach the Summit? You goofball. Get out of here, lazy. Turbo Overkill. Can you make it like Turbo Overkill? No. Call it Peak? Yeah, sure. So, anyway, the shattering over the shittering. No, I don't know if I want to call anything a shatter. This is going to be something that we're going to think about over the course of months. So this is not something we have to discuss right now. But that is something that I have considered. Because one way or another, we at least have to recognize that the current name of the game is not working in the game's favor at all. It is working against it in multiple ways. Many, many ways. So. Oh. Anyway. I want to talk about dungeons now. I think that's the first one that we haven't done yet. Where are we missing? Dungeons. Yep. Orb. Orb! Orb! Anyway, dungeons. Dungeons are directionless, disjointed, and currently disabled. They are paralyzed from the neck down. I need to put my glasses back on. I can't see shit. I'm leaning up in my chair like an old man, hurting my eyes. The blue light's getting into my eyes, rotting my brain. I'm becoming gay. I'm becoming gayer by the second. Okay, so. First off, I have DMs, and I'm sure they're going to be hilarious. Oh, it's Kane. Cool. Is all of Door Guy stuff still planned like it's shifting at the start? Guess what? If we go down here to lack of tutorialization and narrative, add the Yuta sequence onto the prologue. Oh, right there. Oh, another thing we're going to be talking about is that we have arrived. I am adding we have arrived guy back to this game, and I am going to utilize that. I know there was a reason I wanted to at first, and I think... Okay, actually, here's the funny thing. This is exactly what I've been fucking talking about this whole time. That review who said GTTOD is just a game that's just other game ideas smashed together, he's right. But sometimes that's the right way to go. Sometimes that lands on the correct solution. And I think I did that enough times that I actually do have a good-ass game in GTTOD currently. It just needs refined. So here's the funny thing. I think when I had the AI, it was because I was copying Doom. Doom had fucking whatever the AI's name was. I don't remember. What was I don't remember. I was copying it. But and because I didn't know how to make it work correctly, I feel like I didn't utilize it the way I should have. I didn't utilize it in a way that worked for GTTOD because I wasn't trying to utilize it in Vega. I wasn't trying to utilize it in a way that worked for GTTOD. I was just trying to copy Doom. But knowing what I know now, I actually do think a suit AI that talks to you and guides you through things could be very, 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 very beneficial to the game. In fact, I think it could be the most beneficial character to the game, period. I think it could be something really, 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 really important. And so that's going to be re-added. And I absolutely am going to be fitting in a we have arrived back into the fucking script. 100% going to be fitting that. And I believe that the suit AI is actually going to be the most important character in the game. At first, I thought it was going to be Mama. I think Mama is going to be very, very, very important. Nearly as important as the suit AI. But I think the suit AI is going to be your companion. And I think that's something that's really, really important. And when writing the character for this AI, I have to be very, very, very careful. Because I do not want this to be suit AI describing your gun on inspect. I probably could do that. But I have to make sure I'm careful with the character for the suit AI because he has to be very simple, but very likable. And I don't mean likable as in telling jokes. I don't think not intentional jokes. I actually, you know what's funny about this? I think BT is a perfect reference. BT is a very simple character. He's not too in your face. He grants you exposition and information. I think that's what's really important. So that's going to be the goal. So that's something that's going to happen and is going to be a key component in this game, storytelling wise. So that's that. All right, you getting out of here? I'll see you, Wi-Fi. Now, we're going to move on and we're going to talk about dungeons. Actually, before we do that, I am going to talk about... let's talk about dungeons. So, first off, I'm actually going to check my email real fast as well because I'm expecting a message. Okay, never mind. If you read this on stream, say hi. Oh, I read it on stream. You're a big boy, aren't you? Give us ability to change the AI's voice between presets and have all the tester's voice than an actual voice actor. I'm not going to spend more money than I need to. I'm not going to spend more money than I need to. What's probably going to happen, though, is the human sacrifices might enable a setting in your options menu that allows you to turn on optional voice acting. So that is a thing. But we'll see. Yeah, normal. Rune of Sacrifice's idea. Every time it talks, it switches between a tester's voice. That was part of it, yeah. Let's see here. So, dungeons. Right now, dungeons are directionless, disjointed, and disabled. So first off, enabling dungeons is a big part. But I want to talk about what you're doing in dungeons and the purposes that dungeons serve and the focus that they've traditionally had. So right now, a problem I have with Dungeons right now is that they are focused on a challenge. They are trying to challenge the player. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to challenge the player. But it is a bad thing to only do a challenge for the player. Right? I think that is a hugely missed opportunity. Right now, dungeons are meant for grinding and for challenge, and that's boring. What they should be meant for, really, is the focus should be fun. The first focus on anything should always be fun. Fun first. If it's not fun, why bother, right? So I found through testing and in the very last iteration of the dungeons that was never released but was going to be in the last update but got cut, I found that the most fun thing for a player to do would be to have a big giant fuck off arena and put a player in there and just let them fucking fight it out. The bigger the arena, the better, the more enjoyable it was. I learned that. The next thing I learned, though, was that it needs to be different. It cannot be, if it's going to be disjointed, which it will be, if it's going to be separate from the game, you do not want to take a player from one environment and separate them from that as if taking them through a portal, which you're literally doing this in this case, but like the theoretical, the psychological portal. You're taking them through a portal, completely separating from them from the environment they've been comfortable with or at least familiar with. You need to change the gameplay. Because if you separate a player from the original game or an original area and then just reintroduce them to the exact same gameplay with no significant moderations, you're just going to disappoint them. They're just going to get bored. They're going to get bored way, way, way faster. And not only that, when they do eventually return back to the normal gameplay, it's going to seem even more fucking boring. The reason you want to have things that are disjointed is to completely mix it up. An example of GTTOD doing this correctly is the Babe Trial. The Colosseum. The Colosseum mixes shit up just enough that it is different and is a challenge and is disjointed and has a different goal, which was upgrading your weapons, right? The Colosseum, remember how we had a negative review earlier of somebody saying the wait, what the fuck was I just about to say? Oh, that we were basically saying that the way that the Colosseum is now currently is bad and needs to be readjusted. It's not that it's bad. It's perfect. It's that it's too much focus is on it. It's perfect for what it is. It just needs to be less. You know what I mean? It needs to be less prioritized. Right now, it's a crutch holding up a area of the game that needs more attention. And as a result, the symptoms of that injury, in a weird way, I'm using the term injury, but the symptoms of that injury are that people think that the game is too difficult. It's not even that these things are directly linked. It's that they're indirectly linked in a powerful way, and they shouldn't be. It's not strong enough to hold up that crutch. So you need to release pressure. And I'm doing that by adding babes to safe levels and utilizing safe levels better because currently they're underutilized. But dungeons are an example of an area that no matter what we do, they are absolutely going to be disjointed from the main area. And because of that, they have to play different from the main gameplay. That does not mean the main gameplay cannot be present in the dungeons. It just means that when you're in the dungeons, you have your goal and your method of achieving that goal has to be different than the main game. Right? At least in some manageable and noticeable way. So this is why I had orb written here. So the reason I have orb written here is because I think a cool thing to do to make dungeons different is to have them focus on fighting a different type of enemy. This enemy would be an orb that floats in the air and releases EMPs that damage the enemy when near it and buffs other enemies. Basically an elite shade that's a bit of a bigger bitch. And this orb moves quickly around a big open arena, so you have to chase it while managing to fight off other enemies and damage the orb until when it dies you can progress to the next level. You are not rewarded with anything. I am not rewarding you on a level by level basis or on arena by arena basis. You are not rewarded. You are rewarded with just being able to progress. When you progress, the arena changes, gets more difficult. You add more mechanics to the orb, and then finally you beat it for the third time. So to give you an idea, the first arena is this. I'll show you the first arena. Uh-oh. Oh, it's my search bar. Anyway, I didn't know you could do that. Prefabs, dungeons, Act 1 dungeon. I think it's this one now. Act 1, Act 2, okay, you see Act 1, Escape, Shop, and Template. So this is the Act 1 dungeon right here. Let me actually, instead of putting it in here, I'm just going to look at it. This is this big fucking arena, right? Huge arena. Massive arena. Goes all the way around. This is the first dungeon you'll fight. You'll spawn here. You'll spawn in the air, drop down just like normal. The orb will spawn in front of you, and it will begin following a path through the dungeon, and you will begin chasing it. Each time you damage it, it moves to the next thing and speeds up moving around the arena, okay? So its speed is based on how much you're damaging it. So you're chasing it and damaging it more, and it's becoming more and more of a focus while other enemies are spawning and trying to stop you. That's the goal, right? The orb will also heal if you don't damage it in time, but destroying the orb will open this thing, and you will then progress. The next arena, the Act 2 dungeon, will have lava on the ground instead of water. It'll be a different arena. It'll have Act 2 rocks instead of Act 1 rocks, and it'll be lava on the ground instead of water. You'll do the exact same thing. I'll probably add a few more mechanics to the orb. That's probably where it'll start EMPing out and damaging you. And then the third arena will be ice with lava, and the ice will freeze you and prevent you from healing. The lava will damage you. By the way, when you hit the lava, it's like Mario. You bounce off it and catch on fire. So it's not too big of a deal. It's not going to damage you extra. It's just going to catch you on fire, but you'll bounce off it like a launch pad. That's the idea for lava. Anyway, further than that, though, then you'll also be frosted. So you can actually balance. If you can't heal because you're frozen, you can jump into the lava to catch yourself on fire, to warm yourself up, so then you can heal in the third area. So there actually is a bit of a mechanical advantage to mixing those two things together. But then it'll be, once you beat the orb for the third arena, you will unlock a thing that grants you an ultimate ability. So you will be getting your ultimate ability from these dungeons. That's how dungeons are going to function. There's not going to be bunkers. You're not going to be getting keys. You're not going to be looting. You're just going to go down there to fight, get an ultimate ability, and leave. Will we go wah 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 when we hit the lava? Yeah, you will. Yeah, you will. You'll do that. So this is kind of the plan moving forward. So, in a new enemy. What are we going to call the orb? What do we call the orb? What the fuck? I didn't even think of this. He's going to be a new enemy. A wisp? We already have wisps. Jerry? Pull up the list. We got targets, ticks, razors, drudges, imps, mini-imps, raptors, mantis, striders, shades, drakes, seekers, the corrupted armor, Krog. We named him Krog. Nest, Cyclops, Mammoth, Golem, Key Crab, Cinderhounds, the Legion Sentinel, the Blade Sentinel, the Lich Sentinel, Dice Bots, Dice Hounds. That's for Apocalypse Architect. Yeah, wisps are the little balls that they're not enemies, but they're in the game. The little balls that spawn sometimes. And they glow and make funny noises. What's a synonym for a wisp? Corruption? No, not corruption. What about a will-o-wisp? Oh, we could just... Hey, guys, what the fuck? We just called a will-o-wisp. The will-o-wisp. Is that how you spell it? Will-o'-the-wisp. No, it's will-o'-wisp. Oh, it is will-o'-the-wisp. What the fuck? It's will-o'-the-wisp? That's what it's been the whole time? Oh, wait, is this a game? No. No, it's not. It's a real thing. Am I 100% sure in it being an orb? No. Do you have other suggestions of what a flying enemy that moves around and emits power around it can be, other than an orb. Hello. Man, people are going to want to watch this stream later because this has been a pretty crazy stream. Johnny? Do we have a Johnny already? Did we name a Johnny? I'm not saying we're naming it. I'm saying we're trying to figure out what the enemy will be. But I'm fine with naming it Johnny. We can name it Johnny. Imaginary disturbance for the player? Like a hostile HUD element? Nah, I'm not gonna do that. But I am gonna do something kind of similar to that, though. Actually, what's funny about that? Okay, so Will-o'-the-Wisp is a real thing. Is a foolish flame or an ignis fatui is an atmospheric ghost light seen by travelers at night, especially over bogs, swamps, or marshes. The phenomenon is known in the United Kingdom as a variety of names, including jack-o'-lantern, friar's lantern, and hickey punk, and is said to mislead travelers by resembling a flickering lamp or lantern. All right, we're doing Will-o'-the-Wisp, and we're definitely doing an orb. We're going to do a few things here. You're going to like these ideas, I think. Add a new enemy, the Will-o'-the-Wisp. The first stage, it simply flies around the level. The player must damage and kill it in order to proceed. The player must damage and kill it in order to proceed. If it's made of rings, I'm suing. It's made of rings. Why would it be made of rings? Like a we're gonna make it a fucking biblically accurate angel. Oh, actually, that would be pretty fucking sick, dude. Oh, fuck. No way. Wait. Is my stream dying? Is my internet dying? What the hell? Why is my... Is something happening? Steam, are you downloading something? Steam's not downloading anything. King Pigface. Trippy visual enemy that is made of intersecting rings. Dude. Why is my... Is Google dying? Is the stream dying? Is something... Does the stream dying right now or what? Hello? Hello? Stream is perfectly fine. Are we dying? Stream is fine. Oh, weird. Bruh, biblically accurate angel for fucking real. And we'll call it a will-o'-wisp. We're not going to give it wings, though. We're going to just make it the rings. It's biblically accurately inspired, not an actual biblically accurate angel. We're just going to make it some rings with eyes on it that glows real crazy. I'll probably just make that enemy myself. Anyway. Yeah, no, this is not the last update before launch. This is the launch update. Alright, we're definitely doing that. By biblically accurate angels. The ring things. The player must damage and kill in order to proceed. Once killed, the level will clear and the door to proceed will open. We're not doing a dungeon shop, by the way. Fuck dungeon shops. We don't give a shit about them because we're not going to be prioritizing dungeons as much. Because before, dungeons was a crutch. It was a thing, oh, we need some other side objectives. But can't add them to the level because the level is too small, so we made them in a different area. The level's not too small. We just need to utilize the space properly. But that's what the reason for dungeons was really at first. One of the reasons. But now we need to utilize them properly. I thought my alarm just went off. Properly, and that involves not spending too much fucking time in them. Less time. Make them quicker and more fun. Focus on fun, not on challenge. Once killed, the level will clear. The door will open to proceed. Please open. Okay, so the second stage is it flies and emits EMP bursts that damages shields. The third stage, it flies, emits EMP bursts that damage shields, and goes invisible. Also, we gotta add another thing. The enemy can heal if not damaged frequently enough. I'm just gonna say if not damaged in time. Can slowly heal if not damaged in time. Yeah. It flies, and then enemies will spawn, attempting to prevent the player from killing the new enemy. The first stage will be Act 1 themed. The floor will be water. The second stage will be Act 2 themed. The floor will be lava. The third stage will be Act 3 themed. The floor will be lava, and the arena will frost the player. Will frost, and the arena will frost. Okay. That's that. That's kind of the idea for dungeons now. And then completing a dungeon will grant the player a ultimate ability. Now here's something that's going to be really crazy about this. It will tell you what the ultimate ability is when you enter the dungeon. Okay? It'll tell you. It'll give you a hint. It'll say if it's going to be Void Burst, it'll tell you, it'll say that you have a certain feeling, and that will be transmitted to you somehow. Like you can, it's not going to tell you exactly what the ultimate ability is, but it'll give you a hint as to what it is. One that you will eventually learn and know what that means. I may even have the AI do it. Like the AI may make an observation about the area, and that will hint as to what is lurking at the bottom of the dungeons, right? Not only that, you will be able to leave. You will be able to leave the dungeons and go back to the level that you were at. So you can leave by using I think I'll do it so that you can use a harbor portal to extract out of the dungeons back to the level. After defeating it, the player has power again. Or you get it from the box. You'll get it from an item. You'll get it from an item after you beat the third stage. I already have it in here somewhere, but it's in here, I think, actually. Escape, I think it's in escape. It's this thing back here. Wait, never mind, I took it out. All right, it's gone. But it will be in there. Anyway, so that's kind of how that's going to work. The player may leave the dungeon at any time by using a harbor portal. Leaving the dungeon will return to the player to the exact portal they entered. So that you're not going to go to a new level, you're not going to spawn in, you're going to go to the exact portal you entered on the level that you entered it exactly as the level was. It's not going to change. It's not going to give you a new scene. We're not going to a new scene. We're going to use the exact same tech I used for the Coliseum and for a few other things. Exact same thing. Leaving the dungeon will return the player to the exact portal they entered. And then that will close the portal down. Will disable the portal you used. You cannot return through that portal. I guess. Okay, that's kind of implied anyway. I don't need to explain it any further. And that's kind of how dungeons are going to be working now. I think that's everything. They're free too. They're free. Portals in levels are rare, but portals are guaranteed in safe levels. I've already said that a few times already, but I'm just going to put it there anyway, just in case anybody's confused. That's dungeons. Now we have to figure out one other thing, okay? Safe levels need a way to gain a leyline offering, and I don't just want to give it to you. I don't want to give it to you because then it doesn't feel like a reward. It just feels like something you're getting, right? Can we talk about extraction again before you end off? Sure thing, yeah, no problem. But safe levels are pointless, boring, and underutilized, right? Correct, they are. Yee. That being said, I do want to have a leyline offering challenge in safe levels that is unique to safe levels. Something exactly like the orb for dungeons, but that's in safe levels that grants you a leyline offering. I also want to have I just remembered something. I just actually remembered something. I really need to add a new problem. Be any updates after this that are small like bug fixes? Probably. But this is the last big update. Okay, I'm just going to ignore the problem in my head right now, and I'm going to focus on solving this one first. This is the problem, actually. This is the problem. So, one thing I wanted to add was add piles of shards the player can shoot, but spawn enemies. Oh, wait, no, I remember. The idea was add key crab nests that drop shards when damaged. As it gets damaged, spawn key crabs. Once destroyed, spawn a... I don't know. I don't know if I'll have a guaranteed spawn for keys. Okay, but that would be way more enjoyable than key jars, though, wouldn't it? We could keep key jars and make them a chance to spawn, not a guaranteed spawn, but have these be a guaranteed spawn. No, I'm not even gonna do that. I'm gonna keep the key jar as it is and just have this and just have it spawn key crabs. And then you'll kill the key crabs and get a chance to drop a key. I'm not gonna do it in a better way. That's fine. Add key crab nest that drops charge when damaged. As it gets damaged, spawn key crabs, destroying it. The nest drops loads of shards. Add shard clusters to walls. Seems like a thing the players should stop for. It's a thing that you shoot while moving that drops enemies. Kind of lame. Not at all. It's a okay, think of a nest. Nests are kind of like that as well. It's an enemy effectively. It should be treated the same way as one anyway. And it's an optional objective. I don't think that's lame at all. And it's not as something that's super duper important. I think, okay, compare this to a key jar. A key jar is something you just go hunt, look for, and find and shoot, and then it gives you a key. This is something you actually have to fight. That's a way, way better mechanic. So add shard clusters to the wall, damaging shard clusters, drops shards. These are just going to be similar things, destroying the cluster, drops loads of shards. The nest, key crab nest. We should call it a burrow. Wouldn't the player be compelled to stop in front of this thing and keep milking it? No, it's gonna spawn enemies that jump at you and make you weak. You're gonna be fighting them. Secret encounters like the number one in the first safe area can be offering. Oh, like the gub one in the first safe area can be the offering giver instead of with them just dropping too many shards. No, those are changing to each safe level will have one meme boss fight. You may only fight this boss once. This includes Papa Gub and the Mustard Sentinel. You are only ever going to be able to fight those one time because they're memes. They're not supposed to be actual parts of your run. They're jokes. They're Easter eggs. Where was I writing that at? Oh, it's right here. Add new objectives that integrate into the level's play space. Add a key crab burrow that drops shards when damaged. Add shard clusters to walls. Shard clusters to walls. There's another one that I was thinking of. One time per run and per save file. Per save file. I had a really, really good idea for an objective, and I can't remember it now for the life of me. The Splinter is one. And what are those called again? The new challenge thing. The Verdant Idol. Verdant Idols. What the hell was the idea? It was a great. Oh no, that's for something else. What on earth was that idea? I'm so upset. I'm really just gonna sit here until I think of it. It was a thing that you could do in the level that was combat focused and utilized pre-made arena spaces. What was the idea? And it was simple. It was super simple but smart. And it was going to be really fun. Oh, that's so sad. I can't believe I forgot. Wow, forgetting it while writing it down. What did it have to do with? It didn't have to do with your ultimate ability. It didn't have to do with bunkers. It didn't have to do with the door event. Did it have to do with the door event? I don't remember. I don't remember. Son of a bitch. Well, let's brainstorm some new ideas anyway. Let's try to think of some new objectives that are integrated in the level's play space that we can have. The key crab burrow is one of them. They don't have to be big. Just something to do in the levels that is not disjointed. We can search the stream VOD. Did you say we can search the stream? I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I almost said it, but I didn't want to say it out loud because I didn't want to get off topic. Kane, just text me if you need any cutscenes. I can definitely do that. There's 15 cutscenes we need to animate, Kane. I was going to ask you about some of those. 15. I don't know if you're still in the chat or not. That's 15 at a minimum as well. There's probably more than 15. But a lot of them are really simple. Yeah. 11 of those are just for the final boss fight. So that's going to be kind of wild. Okay, I don't remember. I am about to end this off, though, but we're going to do a discussion in the GTTOD chat as well. After I talk about the summit as well, we're going to talk about that a little bit. But I do want to finish these here. What are some more things in levels that you could do every single level that would benefit the player and would be fun to do? The Harbor Scroll Splinters are already on there. Re-enable dungeon portals. No, I'm not ending right now. Legion harassment is going to be a thing elsewhere. Legion is going to go back to being what he should have been, which was a mini boss that comes and hunts you down every couple rounds. Significantly lacking cats. The boxer is getting angry. He punches. You're dead now. Enemies are unbalanced. I'm going to add that, though. Change Legion Sentinel back into the dog round. That should just spice things up a bit. But thank you for reminding me about the Legion Sentinel. He is not supposed to be a boss fight. The old ambush things, they were just... There's no way to make that work in GTTOD, honestly. I remember another thing. I remembered. Add in lootable crafting material objects. So crafting materials, we gotta remember that. Add in lootable crafting material objects. So like the what are they again? They are called the Quantite Shard, Nitrium Fiber, Sindite Chunk Ambrose, and the Ambrosis Drop. So those got to be re-added. Please don't make crafting bad. I'm not. I'm making this super simple. Hi, yes. Add in looting crafting material objects to find those. You'll find those around the level and in boxes as well. You'll find them in both. So you don't have to do one or the other. You can find them either place you want. And you'll probably have more than you need, so it's not going to be like a huge deal to do crafting. Crafting is going to be like one of the first upgrades you should be doing because it's free. You just find the ingredients and do it. Find the ingredients, spend a few shards, and then do it. It's going to be cheap. Cheap, cheap, cheap. Excuse me. Anyway, let's see here. What are some other things you could do in the level that's fun? I'm really upset that I can't remember the thing before. Obviously, there's bunkers, but that's not fun. That's just going to be there because it has to be. Shalom Gamer Dev. I could make it so... Oh, let's see here. What's up, Wicked Badger? We're trying to think of things you can do in the level that are fun that are not disjointed. They have to take place in the level. Hi guys, just checking up. Hey, hey Wi-Fi, you're back. Help us think of this shit, dude. We're trying to think of something that you can do. Add new objectives that are integrated into the level's play space. Shootable shards, yeah, and the key crab burrow, shootable shards. We're trying to think of some more things like that, but like cooler, I guess. I don't know. Oh, another thing, just like this isn't like an interactive or anything like that, objective, but like adding in more movement objects. Monkey bars. Grind rails. floating water, or just water in general, honestly, water. Balance poles, dash points, that kind of shit. There's going to be a tutorial for it. Okay. But we need objectives. Objectives. Yes, hopes you're staying hydrated. I'm not. I'm going to go get some water. Thank you. Yes, I need you to remind me about that. I also got myself a slice of cheese. Yes, I got a Kraft single. Yes, a slice of cheese. Okay. Hydrated. We are hydrated. Can I make the eye? Yeah, you can make the eye. Don't give it wings or anything because we're just going to cover it in particles. It's going to be eyes spewing particles. Okay. Add new objectives. We're back to it. What was the one I forgot? It was the perfect one, dude. I'm not even kidding you. It was the perfect idea. See, here's the thing, Roadkill. I don't want to force the player to explore more. I want them to explore less. One of the problems is that exploration is too heavy of a focus, and that's why we're adding new objects that are integrated into the levels play space that are combat focused. Add new combat focused objectives that are integrated into the levels play space. Shit they want to do. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Do you have any knot of what I mean? The good thing about key crab burrows and shard clusters are these things are going to be added to walls. They are not going to be taking up movement space. They're going to be taking up space where, and specifically I'm adding them to spaces where you cannot wall run. So they're going to be added to spaces that are useless and they're not going to take up any more room. That's a big thing. I did actually want to add more level objects. Explosive or falling cages. Oh my fucking god! I just remembered! I didn't remember the thing I forgot earlier. I remembered something from like months ago. Months and months and months and months ago, I wanted to add a falling cage that has a fucking weapon crate in it. And you break the crate's chain, which we already have that, by the way. You break the crate's chain, and it drops the cage, and you can loot the cage. If we're going to have less bunkers, that's a really, really good way to add that in. Add falling cages. That's a good one. I'm just going to add this to this cages. Falling cages. And we can randomize what's in the fucking cages. Now, I don't remember the other one, though. The big one that I've been trying to remember this whole time, I still don't remember that one. What the hell was it? Oh my fucking god, my brain. Did it have something to do with leyline offerings? Oh, my brain! I can't believe I can't remember it. Can you drop the cages on enemies for insta-kill? Of course. That would be fucking amazing. That's a given. I think it's going to damage no matter what. What a random hidden spots with nothing in them due to alpha chances being moved. Do something with those? I'm going to be doing secrets with those. So, like, cool, funny, cool shit you could pick up, but only once. Pure physics objects? No, they would not be. They wouldn't be physics objects at all. I would code it. Alright, it says, what about scaling loot quality with threat level so the game doesn't get too easy too soon? That is actually something I'm doing differently, though. I'm going to be doing something kind of like that, but differently. I'll get into that later. Dude, it's off the tip of my tongue. If I leave it now, I'll never remember. It'll be gone. It was a brain fart idea. GTTOD is lacking funny physics objects. I don't think physics works with GTTOD. It's too much randomness. GTTOD focuses too much on having a really clean sandbox to have something like that. Fucking Christ. What the hell was it? It was a solution to a problem. I was going to make it so that... This is another thing I was going to do. Reaching the door quickly reduces the door event is. Reaching the door quickly reduces how difficult the door event is. It's basically a way to re-implement the speed crate from Forever Ago, where you'd get to the crate in time and it would let you skip the door event. You're not going to skip the door event, but it will make it easier. Okay, so that's part of it. And it will be tutorialized, as will everything. Or at least it'll be told to the player somehow. Somehow, in-game, it will be informed to the player that that's a thing. Even if it's not strictly tutorialized. Because, you know, that's not something you can easily tutorialize because it's such a high skill ceiling thing. So, that might be a neat... That might be a neat, fucking, what do you call them? Loading tip? Like a menu loading tip? It's easier or it's not. It's binary. Easy or not. And you'll get reward. It'll get, like, if you reach it in time, there'll be a little timer on your screen again to reach it in time. And if not, then you don't. Hey, Logan. How's it going, buddy? You better be there for D&D tomorrow. Okay, so falling cages is one of those things I want to add. Reaching the door event quickly reduces how difficult the door event is. That's definitely a big one. I just don't remember what the one level objective I wanted to add was. It was a really cool idea. I'm just going to go ahead and put this here. This is how the splinter is going to work. Once purchased, the splinter will have a zone around it. It's similar to like the door event. The zone will shrink around the splinter. As the zone shrinks... Okay. If the player leaves the zone, it will fail the challenge. Or not leave the zone, it will fail the challenge. If the player leaves the zone, the challenge will, or the splinter will begin to drain. I know, I don't remember what the problem was. It's supposed to begin to drain. Once fully filled, the splinter will shatter, spawning a harbor scroll. Become more expensive. There it is. That's kind of how the Harbor Scroll splinters will work. That's another level objective, though. And so are dungeon portals, although those are simpler. Verdant idols are also dungeon things. They're just simple. And then lootable crafting material objects are simple as well. There's a lot of simple ones. They're all so far splinters are the most complicated ones, but there's some simple ones. This was going to be a big one. What in the fuck was it? Son of a bitch. Son of a... Can you make an ability that makes you inflate like a balloon and float up? Yes, I can. I will. Skull. It says skull. Where does it say Harbor Scroll? Oh. Thank you. Yeah, I don't fucking know what that other one was. What are some things that would be fun to do? I know I talked a lot about a mini boss thing. And so far that has been completely ousted in this document. The main reason I say that, though, is because if I had mini bosses, I would want to use them in a bunch of different places. They would just be really difficult to make. Making a lot of mini bosses, making a lot of enemies at all is really difficult. And if you're gonna introduce mini bosses, you can't just have like 4. You gotta have like 6 to 8. Otherwise, you'll run into them too much. Especially if you use them mechanically rather than just individually. Like the Warden's different because you're gonna fight him one time, right? The World Sentinel's different because you're gonna fight him one time. But once you fight an enemy more than once, it's actually better to have more of them that are simple, right? Simple but more, rather than less but more complicated. A more complicated boss fight you only want to fight once. If a boss fight's complicated and really, really difficult, you don't want to fight them over and over and over again. You want them to be more fun than not. So what the fuck was the idea? I don't remember. You know what? Actually, wait. I think it had something to do. It was a similar thing that I was going to do with the door event a long time ago. What the fuck was it? What was it? I give up. I actually genuinely give up. I don't remember. We'll come back to that later. Let's see what's left here. I'm going to expand on this. Holding melee will trigger a heavy attack. Tapping melee will trigger a light attack. There are different attacks for being grounded or in the air. That's that. That's all I'm doing with melee, other than also non-forged melee weapons. I don't even need to know. I was gonna say non-forged melee weapons break. I'm not even gonna do that because I won't need to break them. I'll just balance them so that you need to forge them eventually. I've been stretching while I've been streaming. Thank you though. Disjointed mechanics and areas. Dungeons, safe levels. Oh! Fuck! We have a whole other combat objective we gotta figure out which grants a leyline offering. Please don't make them break. No, I'm not making them break. Are you eating or drinking water? I did have some cheese. I'm gonna go grab it. I'm gonna walk out of this room, grab a cheese, and maybe I'll remember by the time I come back in. If I come back in screaming, it's because I remembered. I didn't remember. I didn't think for a single goddamn second. I walked out of this room, my brain turned off. I got my cheese, though. I got my cheese. That's all that matters. Do I play Oshu while watching the stream? Yeah. Do whatever the fuck you want. Can you make it so that even when you have a melee weapon equipped, you can still use the kick one off the ground? There was actually an idea of making it so that tapping E was fists and holding E was your melee weapon. That was an idea. Sorry, I was eating my cheese. There's a few things we can do. You know what? Let's go back to that. Let's talk about melee. Let's discuss this. There's a few routes I could take melee. The one that I've been leaning on is this one. Holding melee will trigger a heavy attack. Tapping melee would trigger a light attack. And there are different attacks for being grounded or in the air, right? What we could do, there's a few things we could do. We could make it so that tapping E will be a fists attack every single time. A pistachio. I don't have pistachios, Andrea. We could make it so that tapping E will be fists and feet. You'll punch and you'll kick. And maybe holding E would be using whatever melee weapon you have. That could be a way to do it. I actually think that would be a smarter way to do it. And just have it so that melee weapons are more so for doing heavy attacks. Which makes a lot of sense. A punch / kick attack. And then there are different attacks being grounded in the air. I don't know if I'll do that or not. I don't think I will. Well, I guess I would because that's how you do a drop kick. Never mind. That's that. That's how I'm doing it. Okay. That sounds like a better plan to me, honestly. Since right now melee weapons are not prioritized, it's the perfect time to make it different. And I could make it different by not changing melee too much. I could pretty much just give you both what you want. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think that's what I'll do. Yeah, drop kick while having a melee. So then actually we could do a really, really, really interesting thing. Punching would be more about staggering an enemy. Less about damage. So you could punch someone against the wall, slam them into a wall, and then slice them in half with a katana. That would be fucking crazy. By the way, ever thought about adding a way to get down faster in any way? I have thought about that, but I don't really know of a way. The Science Club is what you're thinking of, by the way. I don't know if I'd want to do a ground slam. I've thought about doing a ground slam. Like if you look straight down and dash, I thought about doing a ground dash, but I'm not sure. Doom Eternal's weak ass punch? No, I don't want to be like Doom Eternal's weak ass punch. I still want it to do damage and kill. I just don't want it to do as much damage. Right now, punching does so much fucking damage, dude. It's crazy. And I want to reanimate the punching, by the way. Right now, it's kind of weird that you're kind of doing combos. I think punching should be more like an expanded version of what the punch was like in whatchamacallit, the Reflection. That's true, actually. The Halo 5 Ground Slam was really good, but I wouldn't want to have to do that. Blood Punch is why I love current strength. Yeah, that's what strength is anyway. It's basically Blood Punch. So. Okay, that's a good one. I think that's how we're going to do melee. That actually is a way that didn't occur to me before until just now. So we still got to figure out some more level objectives, and we still got to figure out the thing to get a ley line. This one actually isn't as important because I still think the safe levels are going to be really good either way. What we could, it doesn't have to be complicated. Because the safe level is not a disjointed area, it's an actual level. It could actually just be doing a door event. It's an optional door event. How about we just do that? How did nobody fucking say this? How did nobody say this? This is the obvious solution. It isn't too interesting, but it's fine. It's perfectly fine. It's worth it and it's fun, and that I think that makes it fine. How did no one say that's crazy? Anyway, that's that. Now we can come back to the hard part. This is a huge one. I guess another part is exploration is too heavy of a focus. Adding in randomized. Oh my god, I'm actually having a fucking seizure right now. Add in randomized level segments. Most levels only have their middle segment randomized. Heavy focus on randomizing the arenas rather than transition areas. That's kind of what I'm doing. Just came in to say I have not enjoyed the random starting weapon. I would much rather just have a pistol. I guess you could. That's well, okay. Well, what's wrong? What do you? Let's look at this further. What do you think is wrong about the random starting weapon? What about the random starting weapons do you not enjoy? Is there a specific weapon you don't enjoy getting, or? Because it may not be that you don't like the random starting weapons. It may just be that you prefer the pistol to the other weapons. I agree the Magnum still needs work. And if you prefer the pistol to the other weapons, that's more a thing just saying the other weapons are not good as starting weapons rather than not. I agree. I don't like the Magnum at all. I actually restart when I get the Magnum. Do you like the assault? Not the assault. Do you like the auto pistol? And do you like the revolver? Like, what do you think of the auto pistol and revolver? Because is the double barrel is not a starting weapon anymore, is it? It's not. The double barrel is no longer a starting weapon. I really like the auto pistol, but ammo is tough at the start. Revolver is too slow. Do you know the revolver has a fan the hammer mode? That is literally full auto and shoots faster than the pistol. And also the revolver's fan the hammer mode is tutorialized. There is an entire tutorial in the beginning of the game that tells you about the revolver's fan the hammer mode. It's the only weapon in the entire game that gets a tutorial unique to that weapon. Oh, the reloading is too slow? The reloading of the revolver is fast. It's really fast. The reloading of the revolver is faster than the auto pistol. It's not faster than the pistol, but it is faster than the auto pistol. Or do you mean the babed revolver? Because then we're not talking about starter pistols. We're talking about advanced weapons. And that doesn't mean it's a bad mechanic either. That just means you prefer the... That means you don't like the Magnum and prefer the pistol over the revolver and the auto pistol. And then maybe there's some ammo things that need changed. I do agree that... I'm going to go ahead and just do that. I think pistol ammo needs to be more common. I'm going to increase the amount you get from pistol ammo. I'm gonna do 6 to 12 for pistol. I think that makes way more sense. I think the auto pistol with more ammo would be more viable. The revolver is perfectly viable. The Magnum needs a remake. Again, even though it just got one, it needs another remake. It needs a remake by somebody who isn't me, who actually enjoys doing pistol reloads, because I hate doing pistol reloads. And then I think that will probably solve that problem for you, bro. Bro pewter. Let's go ahead and write that down. What was it again? How do we word this? Random starter weapons need rebalanced. I'm going to start that by saying Magnum needs remade completely. Focus on a faster fire rate. And better increase animation quality by a lot. I feel like if it was animated better, people would want to use it more. Have a better secondary fire that is useful. Then pistol ammo needs to drop more. What else was there again about the auto pistol, magnum, revolver? What was the issue with the revolver? I think is fine. I don't actually think that needs changed. It's definitely a low ammo count, so that's just a personal preference. I don't think that's actually something that needs changed. But random starter weapons need rebalance. I do agree with those points mostly. R15 cutscenes. Okay. But why are the starter weapons always handgunish? There used to be a shotgun. No, there's not going to be a starter shotgun. There will not be a starter shotgun. There was the double barrel that was a starter shotgun, and I did change it briefly so that the compact shotgun was actually a starter weapon. You could see it got moved below the double barrel, as you could see. But I decided against having it be a starter weapon just because it was too different. I felt like I wanted the start to be more consistent, and I feel like you can only get that consistency with similar weapons, and I felt like I had that with the pistols. Other than the Magnum, obviously. So there is just straight up no starting shotgun. One thing that's going to change as well, I'm going to go ahead and add this, is that the player becomes too overpowered too quickly. The game is long now, dude. / unevenly. I will say this. The game is long now, dude. But here's the thing. Difficulty really picks up in Act 2. Fast. Right? There are 2 bloom things in... Wait, even with bloom disabled, you get a big headache? There's nothing more I could do then. That's the most I can do. Unless I just have an actual literal brightness slider, which I have considered. But the player becomes too overpowered too quickly, says unevenly. The first thing I should do is chests need to be tiered based on level. Items of or below the current level, stage level, I'll say that, are less likely to spawn. Okay, that's how I'm going to be doing it. Chests need to be tiered based on level. Fucking curses and blessings need to be less common until the summit. Once you reach the summit, then I feel like you just need to scale really quickly. Once you reach the summit, that is like the time to scale. You're saving your keys, you're saving your money, you're saving that shit for the summit. And then that's kind of how that's going to work. That's kind of how I feel things should go. So that's a big change that needs to be made. I still wish we could think of more level objectives. The one I forgot is really killing me. Okay. I'm just going to make a new thing here that says levels do not have enough I guess we'll just do objectives that are integrated into the levels play space. Then I'm going to delete this. I'm going to Wait, how do do I tab? Oh, wait, no. Enter? I gotta... Oh, wait, no. Shift enter? Nope. How do I go back on this shit? Oh, wait, I can just do this. Control bracket? Who the fuck would think of that? Can I just, like, select all this and do that? Oh, praise the Lord. Then you're gonna key crab arrows, shard clusters, level of objects, harbor scroll splinters, enable dungeon portals, verdant idols, lootable crafting material objects. What else do we got? It's not shift tab, or is it shift tab? Oh, he's right. It is shift tab. Wow. It's both. Why does it say shift indent? It says shift indent for some reason instead of shift tab. Should be shift tab. Interesting. Okay. I need to give Kane his rolls back. Okay. What did he clip?
Oh my fucking god! I just remembered! Oh my fucking god! I just remembered!
I didn't realize I said it like that. Oh no. That's embarrassing. Shift tab and word. It is shift tab in this as well. Anyway, yeah, more fucking... What was the one goddamn objective? What was the one fucking objective that I can't remember? I guess... Fill levels with secrets and... Fill levels with secrets and hidden areas. That's one thing that does need to happen for sure. For sure. But the secrets need to be randomized. It can't be the same thing every fucking time for most of them. Some of them can be, but not most of them. Bruh. What the fuck? I don't remember what this was. First off, these two things need to be moved up here. And this one too. Oh, dude, I don't remember. I don't remember. What a tough one. What a toughie. What a toughie. Did I blow your eardrums out? My ears. For pure combat, just maybe it's coordinates from Doom 16. Those wouldn't be any different than beacons. Those are effectively just beacons. Bruh, I don't remember what the idea was. It had nothing to do with mini bosses. I already know it didn't have anything to do with mini bosses. Although that is something I want to discuss later. Alden, are you still here, by the way? Let's go ahead and let's just discuss extraction. I had the area here. It's down here. Extracting is confusing. What else do I need to add to this? State your case while I suffer. I do agree with that, but I don't think that's a problem. Extraction is not meant to be needed to beat the game. Extraction is... The whole point of extraction is... Especially with the... Did you see this changes being made to difficulty and challenge? Where the fuck was it? Did you see difficulty and challenge are not properly rewarded? Did you see all this stuff here? Because if you've seen this... It feels like it's half-baked. I think it is a little bit. Please pet Riley for me, please. Where is she? She looks really comfy. She's on the couch. I'm not going to fuck with her. If you've seen this, then you know challenge is going to be more of a thing. And that means it's going to be more difficult but more rewarding to increase the challenge of the game. And if you're going to do that, you're going to want to start with better gear. That is where starter cards and your stash come into play. Which your stash is where, you know, fucking extraction comes into play. If that's where extraction is that. Extraction should not be needed to beat the game. Extraction should be an alternate way to play the game to scale fast. So the CBT challenge is actually worth shit. Yes, did you see? You haven't seen this? Yeah. CBT challenge would be worth a fuck ton. CBT challenge would be insane. So you would be getting so many fucking... It'd be hundreds of jade vines every single time you pick it. And if you were doing the idol, if you were doing the verdant idol, you would get it every single time. You could probably beat the scaling of GTTOD in one single run as CBT. And that's what it's supposed to be. If you're doing max difficulty at CBT, you could probably unlock everything after one run. One successful run of GTTOD. CBD challenge is not fun at all. I agree, but that's why the first thing is to make most rooms focus on the challenge aspect, but it does need to be fun. I think it needs to be fun. That's the main thing. I did see your video. Yeah, I saw your run. It was crazy. It did not look... It looked fun eventually. Like, towards the end, it looked a little fun. At first, it was not fun. But that's why CBT... Okay, also, the problem with CBT is, like, you didn't use your stash, and you didn't use starter cards. A time counter that you can see at the end of the shatter. I encourage new players. Yeah, that was already in here. That's already in here. For the stats screen, it's in here. Yeah, but you didn't use your stash. Imagine if you'd... First off, here's a few things you got to remember. In the final update of the game, there's going to be a way to... I did use the stash. What did you bring? I don't remember using the stash. Send me the video. Just put the video in chat. Put the video in chat, and we'll look at it. Okay. Here it is. I just want to see the beginning of it. So you did use the stash, that's right, okay. You had a really, really good, solid setup. You had the full ordeal. And let's see what you had. Yeah, you had them all on. Immediately you get Legion. How do you do it against Legion? You're just gonna melt him with ice. No, he's tanky. He is tanky. Man, he's tanky. At threat level 1. 0. Threat level 0. Holy mackerel. Let's see what happens later, though. Once you beat him. He kills you. He kills you once. Once you beat him, let's see what happens. You get an Act 2. Let's see how the enemies are. This is going to be the important part. You skip the whole level. I guess that's the point. Damn, that was slick. That was really, really slick. I mean, you're fucking killing him, dude. You're going through him. Yeah, you can't skip the door. That's right. You are making light work of this, dude. This looks fun as fuck. What are you talking about? Well, so what's not fun about what we're witnessing right now? So you're talking about once you get way down the line here. I skipped to an hour and a half. Still looks pretty fun. This still looks great. This looks like a GTTOD. I'm actually very happy that it's scaling in this way. I mean, you're kind of... Okay, let's see what you do. I mean, you're glitching them out. You're fucking them up. Like, what's the issue here? This is an hour and a half in. You're blocking all their bullets back at him, killing him. He's killed in 2 shots. 1 shot. 2 shots. Couple explosions. This is great. Keep in mind, this is a CBT challenge. It's not supposed to be normal. It's supposed to be a bitch to play. It's supposed to be really, really difficult. And I think that will reduce some of the enjoyment, but it's not about the enjoyment if you're doing a CBT run. It's about the challenge. So I don't think nothing I've seen so far is actually... Nothing I've seen so far makes me think that we shouldn't do that way. No, this stream will not be privated. We're going to be referencing this a lot. I just had a bad memory of this one. You played GTTOD for 2 hours straight. Like, dude, yeah, anyone's going to hate that. So I think that's perfectly reasonable. But that's you know, that's part of it. I think that's perfectly fine. I don't think that's going to be a big change at all. I think if anything, it'll feel better when you're doing those runs because you're going to be actively gaining a ton of jade vines. I think that's the key. It'll feel good to play that because you're going to be getting rewarded for it. You were playing that but not getting rewarded, really. Other than in, like, ego. Your ego is definitely... Drink up. All right. Drink it up. Yes, sir. Drank acquired. Yeah, right. Your $100 that you're gonna get one of these days, but I just don't have money right now. To be fair, I should have done a test run first. And to be fair, also CBT is not complete yet because I added a new difficulty. If you remember that. So no, I do not think extraction is what you say it is. I think it's good where the plan lies in this document. I think that's where extraction will really, really shine once these things are all implemented. I'm not going to talk about marketing today. That's more for me. The summit, I think we might want to have to do another stream and talk about the summit then. 2.5 hours of talking like this has been a ton. I have been yapping. Ford, what the fuck? Get out of here, bro. How big is this? 10 pages so far? So we're just going over the plan for the final update and like finding all the fixes for everything. So that's the plan here. I gotta redesign a lot of the summit, by the way. I'm in it right now. Ford, are you here still? I don't know if you just came in here to meme and then leave. Ford. I think he's dead. He's gone. All right, well, I guess I won't explain it. Anyway, that's probably where I'm ending it today, though. I'm going to work on this a bit more today on my own. Oh, no. Ford is here. So pretty much what's going to be happening is everything on the left side is going to be completely different. Like, none of this is going to be here on the left side whatsoever. There's going to be a side objective back here at some point. 37 minutes in that video. All right, let's go look. Timestamp me the exact spot and then send it to me. Timestamp it. Because I don't know what you're going to talk about. Like we could just have totally different definitions of fun. But also you played for 2 hours and you have one example of being unfun, so I don't think that's the point. I think the point of a cock and ball torture run is to be cock and ball torture, hence the name. So exactly 37 minutes in? Oh. Well, fuck. $37. Okay. That's funny. That's just GTTOD being glitchy. That's not even the run or the challenge. That's just you're in a safe area getting shot when you shouldn't be. Yeah, that's not a challenge. That's just the game being shit. Oh, for 5 minutes? Oh, you could just said that. It's also you being a funny little goose. You're a funny little goose. You know that? No, I see what you mean. I see this kind of shit shouldn't happen. Do you remember the person in the negative reviews who was like, I feel like this game influences you to peek in and out? That shit's gotta stop, right? That shit's gotta stop. And I think what's gonna end up happening is when you're inside, the stream's about to end, by the way. When you're inside the bunker, I'm probably just gonna leave the fucking door open, and I'm gonna have them come in, and they can come into the bunker and fuck your shit up. So that's probably how I'm gonna change that. Bunkers are no longer going to be safe areas. They're going to be areas you unlock in. And I think something I'm going to be doing is some average time. Wait, never mind. Yeah. 5 minutes is not. It's not. 5 minutes is a bit crazy. I think I'm going to let enemies go inside bunkers, though. I do understand that. I don't actually know. Make them take 20 seconds to break down the door. That's not a bad idea. That's a very good idea. That's genius, honestly. It's going to take a lot of work, though, is the problem. But I'm already going to be doing AI work, so that might be the right time to do it. No, I don't think a golem could fit. I don't think that's how that would work. I don't honestly know. There's got to be a different solution to that as well. I'm going to really think about this for a long time. I'll think about that for a long time, but I don't think them coming into bunkers is the right way to do it. I think what's probably going to happen is that when an enemy cannot get to you, what I need to do is I need to randomize more behavior in GTTOD. There need to be some enemies that stay behind in guard areas, and there need to be some enemies that walk around and do shit. That's what needs to happen. But that'll come later when we talk more. When I expand the enemy unbalanced things, enemies are unbalanced, I'm going to add the end. Not properly utilized to their full potential. When I go and add on to this, that's part of something I'm going to talk about a lot. Frequency of God? I didn't see it. There's probably some red pill shit in there. No surprise. There's a bunch of random shit in my recommendations right now that I hate. But anyway, that's kind of where I'm ending things. Yeah, the summit's going to be changing quite a bit design-wise just because it didn't work. And that's pretty much that. Well, I'm going to do another one of these videos, I think. Or not videos. I'm going to do another one of these streams, I think, where we talk about shit. So, all right. Thanks for hanging out and chilling out with me and offering your advice and suggestions. I'll probably do a few more of these just because we got a lot more to go through. Look in Discord. The fuck you want? Frequency of God? I don't know. I have no idea, dude. Probably some sleep shit. But I'll see you.